Jacob's story does not begin with a hero. It begins with a boy who holds his brother's heel and will not let go. From the first breath, his life is full of tension and grasping. He grows up learning how to get what he wants. He is clever, quiet, and patient. He can wait for the right moment, and when that moment comes, he takes it. But because of this, he hurts people he loves. He lies to his father. He runs from his brother. He sleeps on the ground with a stone for a pillow and wonders if God will still be with him. Yet this same man becomes Israel, the father of 12 tribes, the beginning of a nation. How can that be? How can God take a person with so many faults and turn his life into a blessing for the world? Jacob's life shows us a truth that still matters today. God uses imperfect people. He transforms them through struggle, through hardship, and through grace. Chapter 1. Born grasping. Jacob and Esau were fighting before they were even born. Rebekah, their mother, felt the struggle inside her and asked God what was happening. God told her, "2 nations are in your womb. The older will serve the younger." When the twins were born, Esau came first, red and hairy. But Jacob came right after, his tiny hand holding onto Esau's heel. That's how he got his name, Jacob, the one who grasps. From the very beginning, he was reaching, trying to take hold of something that was not his. As they grew, the differences between them became clear. Esau was a hunter, a man of the open fields, strong and impulsive. Jacob was quiet, staying near the tents, thoughtful and calculating. One day, Esau came back from hunting, exhausted and starving. Jacob was cooking stew. Esau begged for food, but Jacob saw an opportunity. "Sell me your birthright first," he said. Esau, thinking only of the moment, replied, "What good is a birthright if I die of hunger?" And just like that, he swore an oath and sold his rights as the firstborn for a bowl of stew. Friend, this moment shows us both brothers clearly. Esau despised his birthright. Jacob wanted the blessing, but he was willing to take it by grasping, not waiting for God. Already we see ambition without trust, desire without patience. And yet, even here, God was at work, shaping the man Jacob would become. Chapter 2. Deception and Exile. As Jacob grew older, his desire for the blessing only grew stronger. The birthright was his now, but he wanted more. He wanted the blessing from his father, Isaac. And Isaac, old and nearly blind, intended to give that blessing to Esau. Rebekah, Jacob's mother, overheard Isaac's plan. She loved Jacob and wanted the promise to fall on him. So she made a plan. She dressed Jacob in Esau's clothes. She covered his smooth arms and neck with goat skins so he would feel like his hairy brother. And then she sent him to Isaac. Jacob stood before his father pretending to be someone else. Isaac was suspicious. "The voice is the voice of Jacob," he said, "but the hands are the hands of Esau." He asked again and again, "Are you really my son Esau?" And Jacob lied, "I am." In the end, Isaac gave the blessing. "May nations serve you. May those who curse you be cursed, and those who bless you be blessed." The blessing was spoken, and once spoken, it could not be taken back. But when Esau returned and discovered the deception, his grief turned to rage. He cried out, "Bless me too, my father." But it was too late. Esau swore in his heart that he would kill Jacob. And so Jacob ran. The one who had taken the blessing now had nothing. No home, no family, no peace. He left behind everything familiar and fled into the unknown. Friend, Jacob got what he wanted, but he paid a heavy price. Deception gave him the blessing, but it also broke his family apart. Sometimes the things we grab for in our own strength leave us empty-handed. And yet, Even in Jacob's exile, God was not done with him. The journey ahead would shape him into a new man. Chapter 3. Jacob's Ladder. God appears in the night. Jacob was alone. He had left his father's house, left his mother's embrace, left behind the brother who wanted to kill him. The road ahead stretched long and uncertain. He walked until the sun went down, and then he stopped in the wilderness. With nothing but stones around him, Jacob took one and placed it under his head as a pillow. That night, he lay down on the hard ground, carrying the weight of fear and guilt. And there, in his sleep, Jacob saw a dream. A ladder stretched from earth up to heaven. Angels were ascending and descending on it. At the top stood the Lord himself, and he spoke. "I am the Lord, the God of Abraham and the God of Isaac. The land on which you lie I will give to you and your offspring. I am with you, and I will watch over you wherever you go, and I will bring you back to this land. I will not leave you until I have done what I have promised you." When Jacob awoke, his heart was shaken. "Surely the Lord is in this place, and I did not know it," he said. He set up the stone he had used as a pillow and poured oil on it, naming the place Bethel, House of God. Friend, this is grace. Jacob had lied, deceived, and fled. He was on the run, empty and afraid. Yet God met him there, not with judgment, but with promise. He didn't abandon Jacob in the wilderness. He reminded him of the covenant, and he vowed his presence. That's what God does. He meets us not only when we are strong, but when we are broken and far from home. He shows us that even in our darkest nights, heaven is open, angels are moving, and his presence is near. Chapter 4. The Trickster Gets Tricked. After the vision at Bethel, Jacob continued his journey and came to the land of his relatives. There he met Rachel, the daughter of Laban, and from the first moment he saw her, his heart was set. He agreed to work 7 years for her hand in marriage, and the years felt like only a few days because of his love for her. But when the wedding night came, Laban deceived him. Instead of Rachel, he gave Jacob her older sister Leah. Jacob, the deceiver, had now been deceived. He confronted Laban, who shrugged and said, "It is not our custom to give the younger before the older. Work 7 more years, and you can have Rachel too." So Jacob agreed, and he served another 7 years. The trickster had met his match. Through hard labor and unfair treatment, Jacob began to taste what it felt like to be on the other side of deception. But Jacob's story didn't end there. He continued to work for Laban, tending flocks and building his household. Despite Laban's constant schemes to cheat him, God blessed Jacob. His flocks multiplied, his family grew, and his wealth increased. Friend, sometimes God allows us to face in life what we once inflicted on others. Jacob learned humility through hardship. The man who once tried to grab blessings by trickery was being shaped into someone who would depend on God's favor instead. The years with Laban were long and painful, but they were also transforming. Jacob was no longer just the grasping brother who ran from home. He was becoming a leader, a father, and a man who would one day walk with a new name. Chapter 5. Wrestling at Jabbok. Years passed, and Jacob's household grew strong. God told him it was time to return home. But that meant facing Esau, the brother he had deceived, the brother who once vowed to kill him. As Jacob drew near, fear gripped his heart. He divided his family in flocks, hoping at least some would survive if Esau attacked. That night, by the river Jabbok, Jacob was left alone. In the darkness, a man appeared and wrestled with him until daybreak. Hour after hour, neither gave in. At last, the man touched Jacob's hip, and it was wrenched out of joint. Still, Jacob held on. "I will not let you go unless you bless me," he cried. The man asked, "What is your name?" Jacob answered, "Jacob, the deceiver, the one who grasps." But the man said, "Your name will no longer be Jacob, but Israel, because you have struggled with God and with men and have overcome." As dawn broke, the man blessed him and left. Jacob limped away, wounded but changed. He had met God face to face and survived. He carried both a blessing and a limp, the marks of transformation. Friend, this moment was the hinge of Jacob's life. All his striving, all his scheming, all his running came to a point of surrender. In the wrestling, Jacob discovered that the true blessing does not come from grasping, but from clinging to God. He walked away weaker in body, yet stronger in faith. Sometimes God meets us in the struggle. He allows us to wrestle with our fears, our doubts, our past. And when the night is over, we may walk with a limp, but we also walk with a new name, a new identity, and a new future. Chapter 6. Reconciliation with Esau. The morning after Jacob's night of wrestling came the moment he had feared for years. Esau was on his way, with 400 men. Jacob arranged his family, sending gifts ahead, hoping to soften his brother's anger. And then, limping from his encounter at Jabbok, he went out to face Esau. As he approached, Jacob bowed low to the ground, not once, but 7 times. It was an act of humility, a way of saying, "I no longer come as the deceiver. I come as your brother, seeking peace." But instead of drawing his sword, Esau ran to Jacob. He embraced him. He kissed him. And together, they wept. The years of bitterness melted in a single moment of mercy. This was not the ending Jacob expected. He thought he might die. Instead, he found forgiveness. The one he had feared most became the one who showed him grace. Jacob said to Esau, "To see your face is like seeing the face of God, now that you have received me favorably." Friend, this is the power of reconciliation. Jacob came trembling, but he left restored. He discovered that God not only changes hearts in the wrestling, he also changes relationships in his mercy. What Jacob could not fix with his own strength, God healed through grace. When you face the people you've hurt, or those who have hurt you, it may feel impossible to imagine peace. But Jacob's story reminds us that God can turn anger into embrace, vengeance into mercy, and fear into joy. Chapter 7. Trials and Legacy. Even after reconciliation with Esau, Jacob's life was not free from struggle. He carried both blessing and burden, and his family story reflected both. There were tragedies. His daughter Dinah was violated, and the response of his sons brought violence and grief. His beloved wife Rachel died giving birth to Benjamin, leaving Jacob heartbroken. Later, the jealousy among his sons nearly tore the family apart as they sold Joseph into slavery and lied about his death. Jacob mourned for years, believing his son was gone. And yet, through all this, God's covenant kept moving forward. Jacob's household grew into the foundation of a nation. His 12 sons became the 12 tribes of Israel. The promise first given to Abraham and Isaac now rested on him, shaping his descendants for generations. Jacob was not perfect. He was still a man marked by flaws, griefs, and human weakness. But his story shows us that God's plan is bigger than our failures. The same man who deceived his father and fled in fear became the patriarch of a people chosen to bless the world. Friend, this is the mystery of grace. God works through imperfect families, broken people, and painful histories to bring about his purposes. Jacob's life reminds us that your trials do not erase your legacy. God can weave even the darkest chapters into a story of redemption. Chapter 8. The God of Jacob. As Jacob's years drew to a close, he blessed his sons and spoke of the future that would come from them. Then he died in faith, holding on to the promises of God. He was buried with Abraham and Isaac, a reminder that he belonged to a covenant bigger than his own life. Jacob's story is not clean. It is messy, full of deception, conflict, fear, loss, and grief. Yet it is also full of divine encounters, dreams of angels, a ladder reaching to heaven, a midnight wrestling match, and a brother's unexpected embrace. Through all of it, Jacob was changed. From grasping at heels, he became Israel, the one who wrestled with God and lived. Friend, this is why the Bible often calls on the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Not just Abraham, the father of faith. Not just Isaac, the son of promise. But Jacob, the struggler, the deceiver, the man limping toward grace. Because the God of Jacob is a God who meets imperfect people, wrestles with them, and transforms them into something new. If God could take Jacob with all his flaws and turn him into Israel, the father of a nation, then he can work in your life too. Your struggles do not disqualify you. Your failures do not erase your future. Like Jacob, you may carry scars and limps, but those marks are reminders of encounters with God that changed you forever. So remember this: He is still the God of Jacob, and if He was faithful to Jacob, He will be faithful to you.